Ah, low back pain. If you're a human being, chances are you've either had it, you have it right now, or you're going to get it eventually. It's one of the biggest reasons we go to the doctor, one of the top reasons we miss work, but what if we've been thinking about it completely wrong? Let's jump in and kind of reframe how we look at this super common experience.
First off, let's just get a sense of the scale here. A staggering 80% of people will deal with low back pain at some point. That's 4 out of every 5 of us. So if you're feeling that little twinge or even a big one, you are so not alone. It's really less of a problem and more of a shared part of walking around on 2 feet.
And his quote from Dr. Mike Evans, it just nails it. We have to shift our thinking. For the vast majority of us, back pain is not a sign that something is broken or diseased. It's just part of life. And really getting that, well, that's the first step to actually managing it.
So let's start with that really crucial point. In most cases, the pain you're feeling, even if it feels pretty severe, doesn't mean your back is fundamentally broken. The reality is actually, well, it's much more reassuring than that.
Just let that sink in for a second. For about 80% of people, even after a full medical workup, doctors can't point to one specific thing on a scan and say, aha, that's it, that's the cause. This is what we call non-specific back pain, and it tells us something really important. The pain often isn't about some major physical damage, but more about how that whole complex system of your muscles, your ligaments, and your nerves is all talking to each other.
Okay, so if we can't always find a single specific thing that's wrong, how in the world are we supposed to make sense of the pain? Well, we can start by categorizing it. Just think of this as a simple little map to help you understand the signals your body is sending you.
And wow, this breakdown, it's incredibly revealing. Just look at those numbers. About 97% of all low back pain is what we call mechanical. All those other causes, like pain coming from organs or some systemic disease, they are extremely rare. The big takeaway here is that the odds are overwhelmingly in your favor that your pain is mechanical.
So what does mechanical actually mean? It's pretty simple, really. It just means the pain is related to the movement and the structures of your spine. It's pain that gets worse with certain movements and positions, and it usually feels a little better when you rest. The most common cause? A simple strain or a sprain, not some kind of catastrophic failure of your spine. Now, inside that mechanical category, we can get even more specific. There are really 2 main patterns. First, you've got back-dominant pain. This is when the pain is mostly, you guessed it, in your back, maybe your butt or hips. It tends to come and go, and that's actually a pretty good sign. It usually means no nerves are being seriously bothered. On the other hand, you've got leg-dominant pain. You've probably heard of it as sciatica. This is when the pain shooting down your leg is really the main event. It's often more constant and can be a sign of pressure on a nerve, which just means it's a good idea to go chat with your doctor about it.
So this naturally leads us to the question that's probably been nagging at you. How do I know if my pain is one of those rare but serious cases? Let's talk about the red flags. These are the specific symptoms that mean you should definitely get medical care right away.
Okay, these are the symptoms to take very seriously. Things like a sudden change in your bowel or bladder control, or numbness around your groin or inner thighs, what doctors call the saddle area. Other big ones include a fever, a major trauma like a car crash, or a history of cancer combined with pain that's constant and just doesn't let up. These are clear signals to see a professional, and soon.
But now, here comes the crucial context, and I want you to really hear this, because it's why we shouldn't immediately panic. Fewer than 5% of all low back pain cases actually involve one of these red flags. They are so important to know, but they are absolutely the exception, not the rule.
So if red flags are rare, should we all just run out and get an MRI to be safe? Well, hold on, it's not that simple. Check out this famous study. They took a bunch of people with perfectly healthy, pain-free backs, put them in an MRI scanner, and found that 2/3 of them had things like disc bulges. The takeaway? A scan can find problems that aren't actually causing any pain at all, and that can lead to a lot of unnecessary worry and what some people call illness thinking.
And this idea leads us to one of the most important concepts in modern back pain care. We've talked about red flags, those rare physical signs. But now, let's talk about yellow flags. These are the psychological factors that are way more common and can actually predict whether a short-term pain turns into a long-term chronic problem. Really think about this for a second. What if our beliefs, our fears, and our expectations about the pain, what if those things are actually more important for long-term recovery than the physical state of our discs and joints? This is exactly where the idea of yellow flags comes into play.
So researchers have found 4 key things that predict long-term trouble. First, the belief that your pain is a sign of severe damage. Second, being afraid of movement, which makes you avoid activity. Third, a tendency to get down in the dumps or isolate yourself. And fourth, expecting some kind of miracle cure from passive treatments, where a therapist just fixes you instead of you taking an active role in getting better.
And this isn't just some theory, okay? There was this incredible study done on airport baggage handlers who had really bad back pain. One group got the usual care. The other group, though, was taught that they could function normally despite having some pain. They were encouraged to move. And the result? That second group got better. It was a classic case of mind over matter. Changing their beliefs about the pain literally changed their physical outcome.
So if our mindset is that powerful, how do we build a better approach? Well, that brings us to our final section, your game plan. This is all about shifting from being a passive patient to becoming an active participant in your own recovery. We have to completely flip the old script. The advice used to be bed rest. Now we know, nope, movement is medicine. We used to be told to guard your back, protect it at all costs. The modern approach is to build a stronger, more resilient back. And instead of obsessing over the pain itself, we should focus on improving our function, on all the things we can do.
I love this phrase. It's just so simple and memorable. Motion is lotion. Movement keeps our joints lubricated and healthy. Lying still? It does the exact opposite. It just makes things stiffer and often worse. Staying active is honestly one of the most powerful things you can do for your back.
So what does a solid resilience plan actually look like? Well, it's a whole toolkit. It starts with just keeping active. Walking is fantastic. It can include targeted exercises from a physio or practices like yoga or Pilates. It might involve some hands-on therapy like massage or manipulation to help calm things down so you can move. And crucially, it includes working on your mindset and building a support team you can call on when a flare-up starts, not after it's already a full-blown crisis.
Look, in the end, for most of us, back pain is a vulnerability we need to manage, not a life sentence we have to suffer through. It really comes down to your mindset and your daily habits. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Knowing what you know now, what's the first small step you can take to start building your own resilience plan?